Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, my name is Dana Cheno. I've been a virtual assistant since 2022. I've been an online business manager since 2024, and I've also been a virtual assistant mentor. You can call them a virtual assistant coach since 2025, that is last year. Welcome to this corner where we go into a little more details than required. And also, do not forget to subscribe because I post a video every single week. Do not forget to like this video if you watch to the end. Don't forget to watch to the end, by the way. And do not forget to leave a comment. And for comments, I've always said that if you have anything to add, at the end of the day, the goal is to grow together. The goal is to be something, is to have clients and to make money as virtual assistants, as freelancers, as remote workers. So if you have anything to add, if you watch the video to the end about a certain topic and you feel like I missed some things, at the end of the day, I'm still human, okay? I'm only human. I can miss some points, okay? Add them in the comments and let's have a discussion, okay? Let's have conversations. If you feel like you have a question for me, you can leave it in the comments. And when it comes to comments, I always say this, that if you have a disagreement or maybe a disappointment to put across, please send that to my email, because I truly believe in my core that can easily invite hate, and we're not here to hate each other. We are here to grow together. Okay, and so my email is somewhere on my channel. If you check, I think you'll find my email. Send those over, and I always respond to comments. I always respond to emails. So let's dive into the point. This video is going to be talking about how to maintain consistent clients as a virtual assistant, as a freelancer, as a remote worker. Okay, and so I've been trying to do this thing where I'm trying to be organized with my content. I tend to just hit record, and I'm also long-winded, so I tend to just hit record and I don't edit the videos, and I just speak and then put the intro and then the end and then post. But I'm trying to be more organized and more, what is the word? Let me try to find that word. I'm trying to be more, I won't find that word now, okay? English is my fourth language. So today, the very first point I'm going to be talking about, for you to maintain consistent clients as a virtual assistant, as a freelancer, as a remote worker, you need to know your capacity, okay? And that is, you need to know the maximum number of clients you want to be taking. You need to be knowing like the maximum amount of workload you want to be taking from clients, maybe like from every single thing. Okay, and I'm speaking to people who are working with clients directly. I'm not talking to people who are like subcontracting. That become, if you have like virtual assistant, if you're a VA and you have other VAs that you subcontract work to, that is a total different scenario. Okay, if you have an agency, that is also a total different scenario. But I'm talking about people who work directly with clients. Okay, because that is the category I personally belong to. Okay, so you need to understand your workload, and that because at the end of the day, we are remote workers, we are freelancing, and as a virtual assistant, you're working with people from different time zones. Like in my case, sometimes I work 4 different time zones. My own time zone, that is East African time. Okay, at one point I had a client from Central Europe. Okay, and I have other clients from Ireland. I have a client from London, and then sometimes I have a client from New York. Sometimes I have a client from California. Like it's a lot of time zones, okay? So in order for you to understand your capacity, you need to understand the maximum number of hours you need to be working, okay? And that is how you'll ensure that when you lose any of these clients that you're working with right now, you can be able to get the next ones in the next 2 to 3 weeks, okay? That is how you maintain consistent clients. So the first point, which affects every single thing, is understand and know your capacity, okay? Have that in mind, okay? And then the second thing is, never stop lead generation. Please never stop lead generation. Lead generation is everything. What you can do is you can play around with the capacity in which you do it. Okay, because lead generation, it's a game of numbers. So what you can do whenever you have like max, again, back to the capacity point, if you have like you're at capacity in terms of workload, in terms of hours, in terms of clients, what you can do is you can reduce. Okay, and remember that capacity that we mentioned in the first point needs to include lead generation. Okay, so yes, do know your capacity, number of hours you can work for clients, but also have the number of hours you can work for yourself, for your own business. Being a virtual assistant is an online service business. I always insist on this. Okay, so what you can do, I personally just tend to do, like, when the contract is coming to an end, I reduce the capacity a little, like I increase the capacity. And so when I'm working with clients, like right now when I'm at full capacity, I tend to just, let's say, I now do cold outreach. When I'm at capacity, I'm doing cold outreach. Okay, and cold outreach is meant to bring in leads, cold leads and warm leads. Okay, and then when a contract is coming to an end, when a client like notifies me that we might be stopping in the next month, we might be stopping in the next 2 weeks, I now go back to those warm leads. okay, that I got from the cold outreach, and now I increase my lead generation, but in terms of warm leads. So I go in on the warm leads, I start sending the emails, I start reminding them who I am, I start reaching out, I start, I reach out to past clients, to let them know that I have new experiences and everything. So never stop lead generation. Okay, you can just play around with the amount, the capacity in which you do it, but never stop lead generation. Okay, and then the third thing is you need to build a warm lead list. Okay, this is in relation to lead generation. Always have a warm leads list. Okay, so whenever you have let's say your capacity, let's say your maximum number of clients is 4. So whenever you are dealing with, you're working with 4 clients, you now need to be starting to work on, you're doing cold outreach at the same time, you're sending those 5, in a week, maybe you're sending, let's say 25, because in my case, I just sometimes sends 5 cold emails in a day. I apply to 3 jobs every single day. Oh, no, every single week. Sorry, that is almost misleading. I apply to 3 jobs every single week. Okay, and that is just what I do when I have the maximum number of clients. I'm working with maximum number of clients. Okay, and so I find myself that when I'm sending those, there are those who reach out back. Okay, out of 25, I can find 2. Those are now warm leads. Okay, now I include them in in the warm leads list. Okay, and so when it gets to that point where we are now starting to, a relationship is coming to an end, I start reaching out to these specific people who I've been having conversations with all along. Those are warm leads. Okay, so have a list of these people, because when a contract is coming to an end, these are the people you should be starting to reach out first and former clients. And the 4th point is you need to increase the activity before you need the clients. Okay, please do not forget about this. And increasing the activity, it's part of lead generation, yes. But let's say you were sending 5 cold emails because you had 4 clients, right? And then a client just left you. You need to almost double. All the time, all the hours you are spending for these specific clients that you lost needs to go back into lead generation. Okay, so increase that activity before you actually need a client. Okay, because let's say if your capacity is 3, having 2 is not that bad. Okay, it's not, that's just the truth. Having 2 is not that bad. Okay, it's better than 0, but don't wait for that 2 to become 1 and then become 0. Don't wait for that. Immediately you lose a client, immediately you stop working with a client, use that amount of time, use that space to include lead generation, increase that activity. Okay, and then the next point is you need to treat client acquisition like it's a habit. This should actually be point number 1. Okay, it's the most important point. Treat client acquisition like it's a habit. Every single day, as I've mentioned, include it, when you're coming up with your capacity, the maximum number of hours you want to work, lead generation should be part of it. Let's say your maximum number of hours is 8 hours. Lead generation should take at least 1 hour out of the 8. Okay, or maybe let's say your maximum number of hours is, I think I personally work 14 hours a day. Sometimes I do find myself working 14 hours a day, out of which I take at least 90 minutes, to send Facebook friend requests. In those 90 minutes, I find myself going through over Facebook groups. Okay, I find myself looking at LinkedIn. I find myself writing LinkedIn posts. I think I have a lot of LinkedIn posts, so I don't write them as much, because I spend it creating content. I spend it sometimes mentoring. Okay, and remember my 14 hours also includes mentorship calls. And so sometimes when I don't have mentees, consistent mentees, all those hours are going into lead generation. Okay, so treat client acquisition like it's a habit every single time. It's not something that should leave. It's something that needs to keep on going and to keep happening. Okay, and so I think that is it. But I can add an honorable mention, is to maybe you can have a strategy, because I personally have strategies for cold outreach. I have strategies for warming them up when I've lost a client, and I have strategies for reaching out to former clients. I have strategies for everything. Okay, so I just play with them around depending on what I want to get out of that. Okay, so that is how you maintain consistent clients as a virtual assistant, as a freelancer, and as a remote worker. And so, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you watch this video and you feel like you have something to add, because I feel like in this case, some people may have other ways in which they ensure they have consistent clients. So if you're one of those people, please don't forget to add them in the comments, okay? Because I would love to know, and I think other people watching this video would love to know as well, okay? Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like the video. Do not forget to leave a comment if you have any, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel because I post a video every single week. And see you in the next one.